Hello and welcome back. What we're going to be going over today real quick is just the Raspberry Pi being used for Octoprint, which is basically a 3D printer web GUI. It's very useful. I like it. It's been very helpful to understanding 3D printing as well as setting up things to work properly with that. So we're just going to go through a quick setup of that. And then also this is also monitored by our Grafana server, which I'll be going over that as well previously. But we'll get that set up and working. So the first thing we need to do is actually get the Raspberry Pi imager up. Okay, once the Raspberry Pi imager is started, you're going to want to select the operating system. That is from other specific purpose. Then you're going to select Octopi, Octopi stable, and then you're going to select your storage. This is where you have your SD card, and then you're going to select write. This is just a warning saying that everything will be erased from there, so make sure that this is a SD that you want to format, and it will be 100% Octoprint only. So say yes. Once this finishes writing, we'll get this set up and go into the web GUI so you can see what that looks like as well. Okay, the image has been written. All we need to do is hit continue here. Okay, from here we can just remove the SD card and insert it into the Raspberry Pi and power up the Raspberry Pi. Once the system is set up and powered on, you should be able to get the IP address from your router or your DHCP server. I'm currently using the Unify. So if I go to my Unify, I can see that there's a entry for Octopi and then the IP address. So I'm going to go to that IP address. And when I go to that IP address, it's going through the setup wizard. All right, we're going to hit next here. I do have a backup, but I am going to actually do this one from scratch just because I want to get everything cleaned up and stuff like that. But if it does not work out well, I do have that backup that I can restore from, and I'll just redo those same steps for that. So we are going to say no to that. Access control. Okay, we need to create a user account here and a password. What you need to do here is select create account and next. So what we're going to do here is just go down to the bottom and enable the connectivity check. Click next. You can either enable or disable the anonymous usage tracking. We don't have any plugins yet, so we can either, it uses a blacklist that will possibly cause things that could be issues. So what we're going to do is we're just not going to worry about that right now. We can enable the blacklist processing. And the default printer profile. This one here, basically we're going to call this what your type of 3D printer is. Print bed and volume is rectangular, lower left is fine, 200, and it's actually 250 for this. Here you set up your general information of Ender 3 Pro, models Ender 3 Pro, and then print bed volume. We know it's a 200 by 250. Axes, we leave that as standard, and hot extruder is a 0.4. So hit next on that, and then we hit finish. And this is the interface that we have to it, and then here we hit connect. And now it's connected to the printer. Okay, the 3D printer is connected to the Raspberry Pi now, and we should be able to print and go from there. Also on this system, we're going to install the Prometheus Exporter so we can actually have it connect to the Prometheus so we can monitor this as well. Thank you for watching and listening. Again, my name is Matthew Mangum with MB Tech. This is the installation of Octoprint on a Raspberry Pi.